Welcome to Senior of the Month, July 2018. I'm Barbara Chase, and our Senior of the Month for July is Barbara Grieco. Welcome, Barbara.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Congratulations on being Senior of the Month for July.
Thank you. It was quite a surprise. I never expected it.
Those are the nice kind of surprises
Yes, right.
when you're being honored for something. Let's talk a little bit about you. First of all, how old are you?
I am 87 and 3/4. I'll be, God willing, 88 in September.
That's a good age. I hope I reach that.
I'm thankful to be here. Really.
I'm sure. I'm thankful to be here.
Right, absolutely.
But yes, okay. Were you born in Montclair?
Yes,
So you're a lifetime Montclair resident,
absolutely.
and you retired.
Yes.
Okay, when you
1995, I
when you were
retired.
working, what were you doing?
I was a school teacher. I taught American history at 7th and 8th grade level for 39 years in one school, Chapel Hill in Lincoln Park, New Jersey.
Okay, and what other employment opportunities that you have over the years?
I worked for the recreation department. I started when I was 16. I had a playground at Grove Street School with Ralph Dandre. And then I went to college. I didn't work when I was in college. And then after I graduated, I also had Nishawayne Playground during the summertime.
Oh, okay.
So I worked for the recreation department. Then I taught folk dancing for them for a number of years on Thursday nights.
I know you from folk dancing. Also,
Right.
I've seen that.
Right.
You're still involved?
Folk dancing is what gets me out of the house and with people, and I enjoy it very much. And I do it on a volunteer basis at St. John's Episcopal Church on Montclair Avenue.
You have a large group?
When we have parties, we may have as many as 18 or 20 people. Usually I have about 10, but that's fine with me because we can do all the dances I really like if you have at least 10 people.
What other community involvements have you had other than the dancing?
Not really. I'm not really a joiner. A member of Mount Carmel Church. And that's about it.
Well, I'm sure that the dancing, I'm sure that the folk dancing has kept you quite busy
Yeah.
over the years.
And I was thinking the other day that almost all of my friends I met through folk dancing. So that we started with that in common, and then we went on to other things.
Well, that's the best way to meet good friends and make good friends. You have a lot in common with
Right.
them.
I used to hike when I was younger. I belonged to the Cosmopolitan Club, which unfortunately was defunct in 2009, and met a lot of very interesting people through that club.
I've heard of the Cosmopolitan Club, but I never really knew what it was.
It was a wonderful club. During World War II, they took in soldiers who were stationed nearby, and they would have them for the weekend, and they would entertain them. And they had different language groups within the club: French group, German group, Italian group, folk dance group, hiking group. Whatever your interests happened to be, they had a chess group. They would have people who were interested in that particular activity, and they would form a group. And it was really, it broadened my horizons, really.
Mm-hmm. Did they house the troops when they were...
They stayed in the members' homes overnight.
Okay.
For the weekend.
Okay.
Then we would have a cooperative dinner, and then they would come for the program. The Cosmopolitan Club had a backstage crew, and once a month, they would have a meeting and they would have a program. And they emphasized different countries, different nationalities. So we may have a Russian night, and you'd have a Russian group from New York who would come and do dances, basically. And then I wrote a few of the scripts for the programs, a couple of Christmas programs. And then in May, we ended up with a folk dance group always had the May program, which was a cooperative dinner. And then they didn't meet during the summer. But it really opened a lot of avenues of interest for me.
Where was the site located of the
Upper Montclair Women's Club.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I know where that is.
I had to rent that out. And the reason in 2009 was their last meeting because people, when it was formed back in the late 1920s and 30s, wasn't TV. There weren't a lot of things that people could do. So
Right.
they looked forward to
That involvement.
each month putting on a program. They wrote the scripts. They made the scenery. One gal did the costumes. And it was a cooperative effort, and you really got to know people, and it was a lot of fun, really.
Did any of the people that were involved in the creative part go on to do any of that type of work?
Well, my sister Rose had written some of the programs, and she had 2 plays done off Broadway. So
Really?
yeah, in the Grieco family, Rose was the one who really had the talent. She was not only a writer, but she wrote Italian. She was an Italian folklorist. She had an Italian folklore group, of which I was a member for 43 years. We sang Italian songs, did Italian dances. And one of the biggest things, well, we entertained in Washington, D.C., Rock Creek Park. I think that was about the biggest thing we ever did. A national folk festival, and we represented Italy back in the early 60s. Entertained at the UN, and we entertained, well, just 3 of us entertained President Reagan when he came for one of the Columbus Days. I think that when he was just finishing being president. I've forgotten Pope's first name, but he had Il Progresso, the Italian newspaper, and he called Rose up. He said, the president's coming, so we want a couple of people to do some Italian dances. So she and I and another couple, we did some dances for President Reagan.
Well, I'd like to tell you something you probably already know, because I think I may have mentioned it.
Go ahead.
That your sister Rose was my dance instructor when I was in grammar school from 2nd grade through 6th grade.
Right.
And we loved her.
I was very blessed to have her as an older sister, really. Absolutely.
And she was also in charge of the after-school recreation program, which was the reason that I signed up for the program, even though I was told to come straight home from school. The first time I got in trouble, but after that it was okay because, my parents knew why I was there.
Right.
But
sure.
she was great. Okay, tell me some of the most important lessons that you've learned throughout your life. You're quite a talented lady, and you've done a lot
question
of things.
I question
Well,
being able to teach folk dancing.
Well, yes, but writing programs and that type of thing, takes something that not everyone can do. So, what are some of the
Well, I
lessons?
learned early, I think being a member of a large family is very good because if you want something, I was taught you work for it. Nothing is handed to you. So I wanted to go to college, so I worked for a year at Westinghouse, which doesn't exist anymore in New York, in Bloomfield Avenue, and saved my money and went to Montclair State because I always liked history and became a history teacher. I enjoyed teaching very much. I did it for 39 years. Same school, didn't go anywhere else.
That takes a lot also.
People in education will tell you that from kindergarten to high school, probably the hardest age group to teach is 7th and 8th grade. And that's the only age group I taught for 39 years.
And you think that you
I
didn't have
loved it.
talent?
I loved it. I loved it, really.
What do you attribute that?
Success?
More so the difficulty of that age group.
They're not
That's
children. They don't want to be treated as children, yet they're not adults. So I found that if you set the limits If you respect them, they're going to respect you. You never ever talk down to them. And as far as discipline goes, you set the limits. This is what you can do, and this is what you can't do. And if you do what you can't do, this is what's going to happen to you. And you have to follow through on whatever you say you're going to do. And it worked. That's it.
That's very important.
It worked. And I really love teaching very much. I enjoyed them. When their hand is up, you never know what's coming out. One day, one boy's hand was up. We were discussing current events, and he said, "My buddies and I want to know if you want to go hiking with us on Saturday." I said, "Bill, what does that have to do with what we are discussing?" "Nothing, but, we thought you might want to go." That's when I first started teaching. So I really loved it. I enjoy teaching very much.
Is that when you started hiking?
No, I was hiking before that in the Cos Club.
Okay.
Yeah, Cosmopolitan Club.
That's interesting. Yeah. And the words you live by, your mantra, what would that be?
Basically, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Be fair, be honest, and people will respond.
What better mantra than that?
Can't think of one.
So I expect that you will be a Montclair resident forever. Where
Until
else,
I die, I
where
hope they
else-
carry me out
where else
of my
is there
house.
to go when you've been in Montclair all these years?
Yeah.
Yes.
Lived in the same house for 86 of my 87 years. Never having married, there was no reason to move. Right.
Now, I think when we spoke, you mentioned where you lived. You were over near the Woodland Field in that area?
Well, when I grew up, it was called Essex Field. Now
Essex
it's Woodland
Field,
Field.
Essex
Yeah, my
Field.
street goes right into
Yes,
it. Yeah.
right. I was thinking last night when I was thinking over, the interview in my mind, I could hear the fireworks from some other town, and I missed them being at the Woodland Field.
Right.
So, did you have to go to the field to see the fireworks, or did you
No, I
watch
could see them from
your
my front porch.
Okay, that's what I was
Porch.
thinking
Just
about.
stand there, or go up into the attic and really see them well from the attic.
The whole
Yeah.
family kind of gathered to watch them, or
Well, we were 10 children in the house, but not 10 for very long. My one brother went to the CCC's, Civilian Conservation Corps, under Roosevelt, Franklin. And then the war came, and brothers got married. My one sister got married when I became an aunt at the age of 9, because there's a big age group span.
yes, I understand that.
21, yeah.
I understand that.
So we weren't 10 for very long, because marriage, the war, just my two older sisters and I lived there for a long time.
Well, it's been interesting learning about you, and again, hearing about your sister and your family. So thank you very much, and again, congratulations for being the Senior of the Month for July
Thank you very
of
much.
this year.
Thank
And
you.
I hope you have a wonderful summer,
Thank you, and you too.
and just,
Stay cool.
I will certainly try.
Right, okay. Thank you.
That's it for Senior of the Month for July. Thank you very much for watching. Barbara Chase signing off.